Huda. So much for being a girl's girl. So much for being emotionally mature. Yeah, all the Huda fans, if there is any Huda fans still left, y'all look stupid. Y'all try to put pitchforks out for Olandria for being a mean girl, for not being a girl's girl. Behind Huda, y'all tried to make it seem like she was bullying Huda, but Huda is the one that's actually the bully, the mean girl, the hater, the one that's not a girl's girl. We're going to get into that. But if you're new here, hit subscribe, join the party. Everybody's been showing me love, been hitting that subscribe button, joining the family. We're going to be here for all Love Island season. We got Love Island games. We got Beyond the Villa after this. So I'm going to be here at least until September talking about Love Island. So you might as well hit subscribe. It's free of charge. Do that right now. We're on the road to 10K. Thumbs up the video as well. That's also free. Let's try and get like 300 to 400 likes on this. We've been getting like around 250. Let's try and hit up a little bit higher and get in them comments. But I'm not going to waste too much time. This episode was good. It was good. We had a lot of talking points and we're going to get into it. But let's go. All right, so we come back where we left off, which was Huda and Jeremiah, where she just told Jeremiah that she is a mother. So she's crying now, and he ends up stating that was a lot of news. So he's still trying to process it. And he's now putting two and two together and realizing that what she meant with the second bedroom was the fact that she got a child in there with her. But she ends up telling him that she's 4 years old. She's like me. She's not like a baby. She's 4 years old. But Jeremiah ends up asking her, like, if you want me to go tell anybody, do you want me to keep it this right here? I'm sitting here thinking about it now. It's funny. He asked her if she wants him to keep it hush hush. And she ends up telling him, yeah, I'll tell him whenever I feel like it. And he's like, okay, cool. I respect it. We'll get to it in a minute. But she then tells him that that her daughter is a big part of her life. Obviously, that's your child. Like, why would she not be? And she says if it's a deal breaker, then she just wants him to be honest. And he's sitting there thinking real hard. You can see it all over his face. And she can detect his apprehension as well. But he ends up telling her that he still likes her. And he ends up asking her how she feels. And she says, like, I feel better knowing that you said that. She's so insecure, but we're going to get to it in this. She exhibited all those insecure traits throughout this entire episode. But he's sitting there talking about if we do the whole thing and we win this shit. And I said, that's the whole point. He's going to literally take this to the end with her because he thinks that we're going to eat up her being a mom and them having this story. In his mind, he thinks we're rooting for this, not knowing that it's annoying to watch y'all two. Y'all two are the most annoying pair on this show. Easily. So he wants to get to the end, and I can see it now. He's going to stay with her to get to the end, hoping to get to the end. I don't see them getting to the end, but if they do, he's going to hope to get to the end. He'll probably stay with her for maybe 2 months after the show, and then he'll dump her. Because I don't believe that he wants to be with her, and I damn sure don't believe it now, because as we saw with his TikTok, the last TikTok he posted, he ain't with being a parent right now. Which, I mean, what is he, like 25 years old? I don't expect that. Like, I don't expect a 25-year-old man to be wanting to be be with a child right now that's not his. But he ends up stating that he's liking her, and he hopes that it doesn't change. And in his confessional, he ends up stating too that he's never talked to a girl with a child before, and that normally it's a deal breaker. But right now, he's trying to see how he's going to move with it. But I was laughing thinking about that TikTok. But she's in her confessional stating that she wants him to fall in love with her as Huda and fall in love with her mom's side whenever he sees that. I'm like, yeah, like, you want him to do that after 4 days? But they finished their conversation off with them kissing. But Belle-Dasha, I'm going to be calling her Belle-Dasha a lot because I like it, Belle-Dasha. But she ends up pulling Nick for a chat. Cierra's watching them from the kitchen with the rest of the cast. And they're talking about the game and whatever and how it's teaching them more about everybody. They ain't really talking about shit in this moment. Charlie, he ends up asking Cierra how she feels. And she's like, essentially, this love triangle that they got going on is starting to bother her and she don't like it. So Belle-Dasha, she's over there saying that she wanted to clarify in hopes that she didn't terrify him on the dock. He loves it, obviously. As we all know, he likes that type of shit. He said it in the first day. Like, he likes that little bit of friction sometimes. And she's laughing about it, talking about he's a flirt and you're trouble. And I'm like, I thought you was Miss Cutoff. I thought you was Miss Cutoff Queen. I thought she was quick to cut people off. She didn't cut him off at all. She didn't even give him a chance to come groveling back to her for real, after she did what she did on that dock, which proves what I said is that she was doing that for a moment. And she thought she was doing that and getting a moment that we was going to eat up online, but here she is acting the way she's acting. But she ends up also saying, too, that she realized that she does kind of like Nick. And when he got snatched away from her by Cierra, that's essentially when it all made sense to her. But Cierra, she comes over to steal Nick, and Belle-A is sitting there with his black accent. Like, this black accent is aggravating the fuck out of me. But Cierra and Nick, they're over there having their conversation now, and she ends up telling him, like, it's tough exploring with him while he's exploring with other connections, even though she knows that's what they're there to do. It's just kind of getting hard now because she's starting, obviously, to develop feelings. But she also ends up telling him, too, like, she's been catching herself, like, missing him throughout the day and whatever. And he ends up stating, too, like, we're in our early stages. And she's like, yeah, I know I'm not trying to rush you, but I'm just telling you this is how I feel. But she also says in her confessionals that she's feeling silly having, like, essentially all her eggs in one basket, which is in his, and essentially, like, kind of accidentally shutting all the guys off because essentially she's kind of focusing in on him. And she feels silly because she thought that all his eggs were in her basket. That's a problem. You should have never thought that. Even though he's kind of giving them that inclination that he got more eggs in their basket. We'll get to that later on. But she's now finding out that it's pretty much split between hers and Belle-A's. But she ends up thinking that she hopes that he comes to a decision sooner than later. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, he don't know what he wants. And then again, I'm like, he does know what he wants. It became clear to me this episode that Nick enjoys having both of them pining for his attention. Nick is enjoying this. He is. Like, but then again, too, it's the experience. But to a certain degree, once those feelings start to get involved on both ends with the girls, you're going to have to make a choice. And you're going to have to figure out what it is. Because you can't have your cake and eat it, too. At this point, especially whenever they're really getting involved like this, and you know, and you're playing and going, we're going to get to it later on. But he was playing and going back and forth between each and making it seem like it's all them, but then going back to the next one and then doing the same thing with them. That's going to become a problem. That's going to become a problem. But we get Huda, is it Huda? Huda, shoulda, coulda, Huda, and Chelley. So Huda's over there telling her about Jeremiah and her telling him that she has a child. And she ends up stating that he kept saying, like, damn, like, and just looking like, damn. And she says also, like, he said nothing's changed, but if it did, he said that he would let her know, and that's scary. Chelley ends up stating, like, it's a lot for him to think about. Like, but it is a good sign that he said that and said that nothing has really changed, even though we all know that essentially in the back of his mind, he's still thinking about that. So necessarily it has changed. Like, he wasn't thinking about a child before then. So you know that's still in the back of his mind. So Chelley ends up stating, too, like, the hard part is over. Now you can just see where the connection really is. You ain't got to worry about nothing else. You just figure it out. She talking to Huda. She don't realize who Huda is. But Huda ends up saying, too, like, she could tell that he was conflicted, and that hurt watching him process that because she felt like she was doing it the right way and just has to be patient and hope that this only makes him like her more. I said, you got to hope that makes him only like you more. I said, you need to love yourself. And that's where it all started to click for real for me. She don't love herself. Like, and we'll see it later on, and I'm going to talk about it later on, but she got some deep issues that she needs to sort out within herself before she has a relationship. Because she the type, I can already tell how she is in a relationship. And it makes me wonder why her baby daddy left her. If they were in a relationship, I don't know. I'm only assuming that he was the last relationship because she said 4 years ago and her daughter is 4 years old. So I can only assume that. And I want to know what made him leave. But then again, looking at how she act, I can only assume. But they're getting ready for bed. And Jeremiah takes his ass. He's sitting over there in the bed talking to Belle-A. And this nigga gets out his mouth and says, Huda has a kid. I said, after you just fucking told that girl that you was not finna say that, and you turn around and say that shit, and Bella was like, so she told you? And he was like, yeah, you knew that, right? Basically stating like, oh shit, I didn't tell you something that you didn't know. And she's like, yeah. And she was like, is that a deal breaker for you? And he's like, right now we're good. I said, yeah, right now. Right now. But the next day, everybody's getting up. Ace made Chelley breakfast. Taylor made Olandria breakfast. And Taylor's downstairs asking if Nick is still conflicted between Cierra and Belle-A. And he ends up stating no, Cierra is the one that he wants to pursue, but they're both still up there. But Taylor brings Olandria her breakfast, and as he's doing that, Huda is over there watching everybody else getting breakfast, and not her. It's talking about something. I didn't get breakfast. Taylor was like, chill, like yours is coming, and here comes Jeremiah. But Olandria ends up telling Chelley that Charlie is going to have to step up his game because he ain't brought nobody breakfast. And I'm like, yeah. And he's sitting down there tripping about him not having connections later on, but we'll get to it. But Chelley and Austin, they're having a conversation. I was glad this conversation happened the way it did. It finally happened, and we needed that. But he's talking about how he feels like he exposed himself last night in the game, which I don't believe all that shit was true, truth be told. I feel like he was lying a little bit. But he ends up asking her how she's feeling about last night. So she ends up stating, too, like everybody's personality essentially showed a lot more, and she can see that he's a little bit more goofy now. But he essentially ends up asking her, like, where do you see this going? Do you see possible romantic connections between the two of us? And she essentially says, like, after she took a pause, she ends up stating, like, right now, I just don't feel a romantic connection. I see it kind of being like a friendship. I said, thank God. Finally. Friends on that nigga. And he ends up stating that he feels the same way, and he feels less pressure talking to her. Basically because they're friends. But he ends up getting in his confessional saying that things could change because he was best friends with his ex in the past. They're not going to change. She don't want you. Good. She should come off me. But Charlie and Nick. Charlie ends up stating that it's tough because he's been trying to find common ground with the girls, but he might not be their typical type because they're American and he's British. But he ends up stating that he doesn't want to give up, though. But he says that he feels his options are limited, but today could go better for him. And it could be a good chance for him to get to talk to Chelley a bit more, which I think is funny now that I'm thinking about it, because he didn't really talk to her that much more after this. But he ends up stating that he's going to go upstairs. So he ends up going upstairs while Chelley's coming down and ask her to talk. So they go walking to talk, and he ends up getting a text about the game that they're going to play today. And he did not pull her for another conversation since then. Now that I'm sitting there thinking about it, he did not pull her for another conversation to even finish the conversation or even start the conversation that he was trying to have with her. But the game that they're playing today is baseball themed. They get the text where it's got the clues and stuff, so everybody's speculating on what it means. They're talking about bases in the text message, so they're trying to figure out what it is. The boys think it's going to be some freaky shit. The girls are expecting kissing. Both of them were correct. But Chelley, she's upstairs with the girls are upstairs in the vanity room, and she gets her first text where it's telling her that the girls will be drafting their own dream team, and they're all excited about it. Beldasha gets the next text that's telling her that the girls will have to rank their boys in order from 1 to 4. And Olandria, she ends up getting a text about they have to rank them and put them in bases. So like first, second, third, and fourth base. And Olandria automatically was like, okay, fourth base means home run. That's your best pick. Obviously, Olandria is smart. She be putting 2 and 2 together. But Huda, she gets a text telling them to text their answers now. But Huda ends up getting in her confessionals stating that she knows that the girls are going to pick Jeremiah because he's good looking and she's going to be uncomfortable. The funniest part about it is, because as I brought here, not one of them girls in there was thinking about Jeremiah, and it was proven later on. But she was right. She definitely got uncomfortable because she's very insecure, but we'll get to that in a minute. But we get to the game. We gonna go through who had what. Huda was first up. Her first base was Taylor. Second base was Nick. Third base was Ace. Fourth base was obviously Jeremiah. But once you get through the obstacle course, so they're going through these little courses. You doing a little bit of freaky shit with the base here, base there, and then you get to your home base, which is the home run, and you just get to tongue each other down. So that's basically what happened. Obviously, she went to Jeremiah and did all that. Olandria, body, that woman, she oozes sex appeal, oozes it. Like she knows she fine, but she got for her first base, she got Nick, Charlie for her second base, Ace for her third base, Taylor for her fourth base. Did you hear? No Jeremiah. But she got body on her. She got them cheeks. Some cheeks was cheeking. She was over there throwing that ass back. She was just that natural sex appeal. All the boys was eating it up. Yeah. Her and Ace got a little hot and heavy. Her and Taylor were kissing heavy. Sex appeal. She got it. Cierra. She goes up next. She got Charlie on her first base, Taylor on her second base, Austin on her third base, and Nick on her fourth base. Again, did you hear the trend? No Jeremiah. So she drops into the splits. Nick was enjoying it. She looked good. They know she looked good. Nick and Cierra, their kiss, very steamy. He was over there pulling her hair. I was like, oh yeah, they getting it down. But Chelley, you already know how I feel about Chelley by now. Beautiful. She got Charlie as her first base, Taylor as her second, Austin as her third, Ace as her fourth. She throwing it back too, just like Olandria. The Black Queens are giving it. The guys were enjoying it. It was a show. Charlie took full advantage of finally getting to kiss her. He put all his might into that. Ace was making faces when he was doing it, but when Chelley was getting them kisses, essentially he was making all these faces, but he ends up telling her to bring her ass home because he's at home base. And they got a lot of chemistry. A lot of physical chemistry. And whatever happens is going to happen. I'm cool for them doing what they got to do on this show, but we all know that shit is not going to happen in real life. We know it's not going to happen in real life. She's 27 years old. He's 22 years old. And we see he is living his 22-year-old life as he should. He's doing what a 22-year-old is doing. I'm pretty sure he came on the show was like, I'm about to have me a good lit ass fun summer and get to enjoy all these women. That's what he's doing. Chelley obviously is in a different headspace. She probably came on the show wanting to find love. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see it happening outside of the house. But I'm enjoying it on the show because I like both of them. Like, I enjoy both of them on the show. But Belle-A, she gets up there. Belle-A turned it on today. She said, I'm about to finally show why I'm on this show. Because I was like, you're on the wrong show. But she got Charlie at her number one base. She gets to Charlie and starts swimming. Well, actually, Charlie was swimming down below the equator, if you feel what I'm feeling. But he was down there, which turns her up. She finally decides she want to start kissing people. So she started tonguing him down. The girls are over there going, wow, they happy that she finally just let herself loose. So she doing all that. Her second base, who did she have second base? Taylor. His face, when she bit him, that shit took me all the way out of here. I was screaming, laughing. Ace was her third base. Nick was her fourth base, and she gave her best effort. She did. He enjoyed it. She was trying to do the freak nasty with Nick, and he was enjoying it, obviously, because we all know Nick likes the freak nasty. But she enjoyed the kiss. Again, nobody chose Jeremiah. But her to swear up and down, this nigga is the hot commodity of the group. Her real man. Y'all need some real men. They don't want your nigga. Like, they don't want him. They don't want him. But the bombshells come in. And the bombshells ain't bombshell, man. Truth be told. Amaya, she got some, it's some looks. Like, certain shots make her look a lot more appealing than she does. Hannah looked like every other girl walking in the mall. I'm not going to lie to you. But Hannah is 23 years old. She's from Arizona. Amaya is 25 from New York. We got 3 black girls in the house now. Love it. But they came out and everybody's shocked because they weren't expecting it. Charlie's obviously excited because there's 2 new girls that he can have options with now. He can finally try and do something with. Ace obviously excited as fuck. It's 2 new pieces of ass that you know he gonna try and get. So he's excited. He's loving it. And he's loving the fact that the girls are a little bit frantic. The only one that was frantic, we're gonna get to her in a minute, but he was like, they dropped the bomb. But Hannah, she goes up first. Her bases are Austin at 1, Jeremiah at 2, and guess who's bothered? Huda. Charlie at 3, Nick at 4. Belle-A was looking a little bit concerned. Nothing to the degree of what Huda was, but she looked like, okay, what's about to go down? So Chelley ends up stating in her confessionals that them boys were a little bit too excited for her liking. But Austin, he got activated. Because Hannah is the first, like, white girl. Like, you could tell Huda's not white, but, like, she's ethnic, but she ain't, you know what I'm saying. And then Belle-A, I can't tell if she's Asian or not. She either Asian or she a little ethnic too. This one is clear white, just clear. So Austin, excited, he finally got his time. So he showed out and did with her. Huda was salty, making faces. Like, she ain't even got to Jeremiah yet, but she making faces already. But she gets in her confessional talking about some be so for real when she's watching Hannah just do her thing on Jeremiah like she should. She's talking about some be so for real. No, you be for real. Like, you're the only girl here bothered. You're the only one bothered. It's day 4. I can't stress it enough. But Hannah's over there being freaky with all the guys. They enjoying it. She's, like I said, Huda's still sitting over there screw facing, just sitting there hating. But Hannah and Nick, they got aggressive with their kiss. He was her last option, so they got aggressive, and it was a little bit steamy. But Amaya, they saved her for last. She got Charlie, and this is why they saved her for last. She got Charlie at number 1. She got Nick at number 2. She got Ace at number 3. And guess who was her home run? Jeremiah. I said, give me the mess. And I know Ace is doing the same thing. But Huda is panini pressed. She the most pressed she's ever been. We're going to get to her in a minute with her hatering. I just made up a word, or at least a phrase. She was hating heavy on this girl. Heavy. And it was unwarranted. Unwarranted. But the girls are trying to essentially talk her off a ledge because she over there tripping out, bugging out. Olandria's like, it's just a game. Like, it's literally just a game. Chill out. But she gets to her confessional and says, of course she would choose Jeremiah to be her 4th base. Do you not see what we have? First of all, she don't care what you have. Because guess what? You don't have anything. It's day 4. You have nothing really established. Like, get out of here. And then she ends up saying that was the dumbest shit she could have ever fucking done. I said, she about to show you how dumb this shit is. Like, she about to show you, because y'all ain't got shit. But Charlie goes up first. Charlie's enjoying it. Enjoying it. He getting all that attention. Ace is over there. He enjoying it too. Ace grabbing that ass. He up there kissing her, tonguing her down. Like, he grabbing it. Grabbing it. I said, Ace is having a ball. I told you, you're going to get a piece of everything that walks in that door. But he started... When he finished the look that he gave Shelley, I said, this nigga is so messy. It looked all sinister and stuff too, but he did it looking like, this could be you. They just do that back and forth shit with each other. But Amaya, she ends up moving to Jeremiah, who's trying to brace himself as she's coming over there. He's like, I'm like, nigga, if you don't enjoy that woman that's about to come get on top of you, like, enjoy her. But Ace ends up staying. Ace had me laughing. Because because Ace was 3rd base, she starts leaving him to go. Ace is sitting there laying on his back. I can't wait for this one. Go, Jeremiah. I said, this nigga is so messy. And y'all saying it could be because of Huda. And maybe he wants to get to know Huda. But I'm pretty sure after watching everything that he's watched, how Huda acts, I'm pretty sure he don't want nothing to do with Huda. Maybe he does. Maybe I'm tripping. But shit, watching how Huda acts, I wouldn't want nothing to do with her. She is too much. But Amaya, she gets on top of Jeremiah. She giving it to him, like just grinding, giving him all that aggression. Any other man, any other straight man would have been enjoying every bit of that. Like Jeremiah just standing there stiff as a board. Stiff as a board. He might really like Huda. Because that nigga was not enjoying. She was giving you everything that you could have. And he was just standing there letting her do it. I'm like, you should have been enjoying it. Anybody else would have been grabbing that thing. But Huda is sitting over there watching it, trying to watch it. And Olandria is being a girl's girl, trying to hide her eyes. And she aggressively snatches her hand down. I said, Olandria is better than most. Because she'd have caught a swift backhand. But I'm like, so much for being emotionally mature. So much for being emotionally immature. That was very childish. Like, very immature. But after the game, the girls, they head off together. The Bombshells are over there with the guys. And they're pretty much letting them know where they're from, getting to know them. Amaya's a nurse. We found that out. Nick, obviously, is as well. So they might connect on that. We'll see. But they're asking them, like, what their type is. Hannah says hers is the male version of her. And Amaya says, my type really don't matter at this point because they haven't worked, clearly. And they was like, who was your type? And then she ends up, or who was your 4th base? And then they start pointing at Jeremiah. But the girls, they're over there talking. Cierra is giving Belle-A all her props for how she let loose in that challenge. Now, if Huda was in Cierra's position, having a battle essentially with another woman for a man, she would have never given that girl their props. That just shows the emotional maturity that she has and they have that you don't have. But Huda ends up stating that she's not mad at Jeremiah because it's a game, but she thinks that bitch is messy. I said, how is she a bitch? How is she a bitch? And she referred to her as a bitch so much in this episode. I said, you don't even know that woman. You don't even know that woman. And how is she messy because she came in the show doing what she's supposed to do as a fucking bombshell? Are you crazy? And she says, I can't even look at her because you're jealous. You're a hater. You don't like yourself. You're insecure. You just don't have confidence in yourself. That woman walking in threatened you in 2 seconds. That's a problem. That's a problem. You're a mom too. And I don't even want to say that because it makes it sound like I'm being, but like your daughter's eventually going to watch this and see how you act. Like, so much for being a girl's girl. You the meanest one on the show. You the only girl on the show talking shit about women. The only one on the show talking shit about women. None of these other women have talked shit about the other girls. They've shown that they're more girl than you are. But Chelley ends up stating essentially at the end of the day, we're still exploring. Y'all essentially said that y'all were still open too. So like, what's the big deal essentially? But Huda ends up stating that says to Cierra, I wanted to hold off on saying this, but I'm a mom. And I'm like, what does that have to do with it? And she said, I just shared this with Jeremiah yesterday, and it was the hardest thing I had to do. And then she started crying. She said, I can tell today that you're one of our sisters. I'm like, 4 days in, 4 days in. And I'm like, how is it hard for you to tell somebody that you're a mom? Like, you made it a lot bigger than it was. You could have told that man on day one that you was a mom. Then you wouldn't be sitting here as concerned and so insecure about how he really feels, because if you would have told him up front, he would have known that. And then if y'all continue to build your relationship, you would have known that, okay, he's not really bothered by it. But now you're concerned because you omitted all that information and tried to build a relationship with him, build a connection with him based off of fallacies and not telling the full truth. That's your own fault. You can't be mad at nobody but yourself. But she ends up stating too that she, seeing somebody kiss him, she hated it. She also gets in her confessionals too and says, like, when she really likes somebody, she don't play about hers. And she said, I can already tell that bitch doesn't compare to me. You don't compare to her. You don't compare to her. And she says, I don't even know her, but I don't like her. I said, yeah, because you're insecure. But Ace ends up asking them how they felt about, asking the girls, the Bombshells, how they feel about stepping on toes. Amaya says, we're all here for the same reason. Like, hello. And Hannah ends up stating too, like, you can't be married week one. I said, hello. But Ace said, And Taylor sitting over there looking at Jeremiah like, you catching what she put down? I was like, exactly. But Amaya ends up saying, who's married? And Jeremiah ends up saying, like, there's nobody essentially other than Huda that he got to know and wants to get to know. He got to know everybody else. I said, no, you didn't. You spent most of your time, at least from what we've seen, talking to Huda. You ain't got a chance to know nobody else. And whenever somebody else comes in here and is seemingly trying to get to know you, you shut them off, just like you did with Cierra, and just like you trying to do right now with Amaya. She can't even have a conversation with you when you already trying to shut her off. It's weird. But Chelley and Belle-A, they come over on some real girl shit. Chelley especially gives Amaya the biggest hug, welcomes him, brings him back over there with the girls. So Amaya goes and gives Olandria a big fat hug. Like, Amaya has good energy. You can already tell she got good energy. Same thing for Hannah. They're both coming in, doing what they're supposed to do. But the rest of the other girls were very inviting. Belle-A, Cierra, Olandria, Chelley. They're all very inviting. And here come Fakey. Huda, faking it. But Huda's sitting over there smiling because Belle-A ends up asking the girls, like, what were the guys talking about? Did they say anything? And Hannah's like, all but Jeremiah pretty much stated that they were open. Huda's sitting there smiling, talking about something. Yeah, everybody calls us mom and dad. Who? Who calls you mom and dad besides you? You. Jeremiah don't even call y'all mom and dad. The last times that we've heard it being said was coming out of your mouth. And we know why you was doing that, because you want to replace your baby daddy. You want Jeremiah to be the stepdad to your child. Like, something ain't right with her. But Amaya ends up stating in her confessionals, which was all true. Jeremiah is a grown-ass man. He got a mouth, too. And if he doesn't feel anything, he can essentially tell her that, and she's not going to push for it after that. But that's not the vibe that she's getting. So I'm like, exactly, talk your shit. Even though he ain't really shown me that he's interested. But talk your shit, because fuck her. Fuck her. Do what you got to do. But Ace ends up asking Nick how he's feeling about Belle-A now, and Nick ends up stating that he essentially gave the first option that he had, which was Belle-A up when he went for Cierra, and it was kind of 70-30 for Cierra, but now it's 50-50, and the boys start jumping and having a ball, obviously, because he juggling between two women. But the girls start looking because they was loud as fuck. But everybody's getting ready for the night. Amaya's upstairs with the girls as well, getting ready, and she ends up stating out loud in front of Huda, I want to talk to Jeremiah and see and get to know him and see if there's a connection there. I said, exactly. Say that shit loud. And I hope she messy like Ace. I hope she is, just to piss her off, because Huda is mad. And I'm ready to see her crash out so I can get on here and just let her know about herself. But Huda ends up trying to act like she's not bothered, but later on we see she's very bothered. But Austin and Hannah. They're having a conversation. She grew up in North Carolina a little bit. Y'all know I'm from North Carolina. If you don't, you now do. But she played lacrosse. He's talking about how he's good at every sport. He's being corny, but you can tell this is the most natural energy that he's had being on the show. And like I said at the beginning, we all know why. But that mask is off. But Hannah is basically barely making eye contact with him, essentially. Like, she's talking, but she's talking. How I'm looking at y'all on the camera, he over here looking at her, but she looking over here. Sometimes she'll make a little bit of eye contact, but not too much. But she gets in her confessionals, and she's pretty much stating like she likes him or whatever. But I'm like, okay, we'll see. But Amaya and Ace, they have a conversation. She's pretty much telling him she wants to be the light in someone's darkness, and maybe that's just the nurse in her. She's asking him how the kiss was earlier, and obviously Ace enjoyed it. They both started laughing and giggling, and he was like, you popped your shit with that one, and she was like, you popped your shit too. But Ace ends up asking her how her kiss was with old boy, aka Jeremiah, and she was like, I was all for it. And he said that he likes her laugh. Her laugh is kind of interesting, I will say. But she said that she laughs a lot, even when she's nervous. She laughs all the time. I'm the same way. I laugh at shit that I should not be laughing at. But he ends up asking her if she's nervous, and she's like, yeah, a little bit. But she said she's enjoying her time with Ace. She's enjoying getting to know him and exploring the connection, and she wants to continue to do that. But Chelley and Amaya, they walk past him as they're talking, and Chelley is telling Huda, I said Chelley and Amaya. Chelley and Huda walk by, and Chelley is telling Huda to breathe because she can't even look at Amaya without tripping. Even if Amaya's not even over there with Jeremiah, she's still bugging out. I'm like, you got problems, bro. You got problems. This girl ain't been here 10 hours and you tripping out. But Chelley ends up asking her how she felt about Amaya, saying that she wanted to talk to Jeremiah earlier, and she was like, I don't like her. I feel like she's messy as fuck. She ain't even done shit. This is Love Island. Go home, dumbass. It's like, she aggravated the fuck out of me. She's been aggravating me, but this was top of the line. But she ends up stating that she don't think that Amaya is nice. You barely even had a conversation with her. Not only that, you're the one that's showing that you're not nice. Like I said earlier, she's the only person on this show talking shit about somebody, calling them out of their name. We all know Ace don't fuck with Jeremiah, but he ain't called him out of his name. Other than that, that is the only beef that was there. And she out here calling her a bitch and doing all that. I'm like, you doing too much. But Huda ends up stating that she's feeling internally that she just don't like her. And I'm like, you could not like somebody, but like, this is too much. Like, you got too much energy for this woman that don't even know you really exist. But Chelley ends up stating, like, you don't have to like anybody, so it is what it is at this point. But Chelley gets in her confessional and say, you're panicking for no reason, because we all know Jeremiah's not going nowhere. That's what it all comes down to, which is why that's why it looks so stupid. That's why Huda looks like a fool. Because on this show, he's not going anywhere. On this show. I said that on purpose. After the show, he definitely gonna go somewhere. But on this show, he's not going anywhere because he sees you as the meal ticket. He sees y'all as the winning pair. He thinks that we're eating up the fact that you're a mom on the show trying to find love. And we see that you're a mom on the show trying to find love too quick. Not only that, you're not nice. You calling her a bitch, but who's really the bitch? But we get to Nick and GreeneBelle-A. They're having a conversation, and he ends up stating that when he saw her go to first base with Charlie, he was down bad watching how she was acting, pretty much stating like, you doing all that, it turned me on. And he ends up stating that the kiss that they had was crazy chemistry. And I'm like, oh, you playing these games now. And he ends up telling her that it was 80-20 with Cierra in that direction. And then he tells her it's now 50-50. Why did GreeneBelle-A start hollering like she won the lottery? I said, you're happy to be 50-50? He didn't say it's 80-20 in yours. He said it's 50-50, which means it's an even playing field. You like being able to... I said, GreeneBelle-A, come on. Come on. But she's saying that she's never kissed 4 guys in one day. That was a step out of her comfort zone. But because she's this little innocent thing, I said she can't even form a sentence that just has a little bit of substance to it. But they end up kissing, tonguing each other down. And she ends up stating that she doesn't love that her and Cierra are playing tug of war. I'm like, do you not? Because you just started screaming at the fact that y'all was 50-50. But she said she loves the way that Nick makes her feel. The way this episode ended was crazy. But Charlie and Hannah, they're having a conversation on the deck. Boring. he ends up telling her that she added something good to the villa. What? Because you finally got another option in here. That's why. But they start making small talk or whatever. He ends up stating that, well, she ends up stating that Charlie is her type, and the British accent makes her want to strip. And they eventually start making out with each other, tonguing each other down. We get to the ending scene. Belle is upstairs with Olandria, telling her about the kiss and stuff. And she's telling her, like, Nick pulled her for a chat. This is the first time that he's pulled her for a chat. And they ended up tonguing each other down. And Olandria was like, okay, so what's going down? But as they're having this conversation, Nick is downstairs pulling Cierra for a chat. So he's cheersing to them on their second night of being a couple. After just doing all that with Belle, you would have thought that he would have been coming down here to tell her, deuces, I'm about to go fuck with her. No. So they're sitting down there talking about the challenge, and he's like, your performance that you did, it was high. You put on a show. She's like, I put on a lot of shows. Like, they over there flirting at that point. She's playing in his hair. Back upstairs, Olandria is like pumping Belle up about her just opening up. I'm proud of you, girl. I was looking at you like, that's my bitch. Like, she out here doing that shit. And Belle is eating it up too. She's like, yeah, I'm finally, like, she letting her hair down. Like, I'm really here. That's what she was doing. Belle is feeling good about herself. I don't hate that. I don't hate that she's feeling good about herself. I love that she finally starting to let her hair down. But I hate the fact that she ain't seeing that she in the game. Because Nick is downstairs. Like I said, him and not Chelley, Cierra was down there flirting. And she's playing in his hair, and she ends up asking, do you want to go to the photo booth? We all know what happens in the photo booth. Well, what happened when they was in the photo booth. So they get up and go to the photo booth, and they're in there taking freaky photos. If I remember correctly, he was sitting down. She was on top of him, like on some, like, hitting it from the back type on top of him. Then she got on top of him and straddled him a little bit, and then they was tonguing each other down. As they're tonguing each other down, who's upstairs? Giddy. Belle is gushing upstairs about Nick. I said, crazy. But that was the episode, y'all. If y'all got through it and enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Do it right now. It's free of charge. I'm going to be here all season. Turn the post notifications on. Do that as well. Myself and Elise, Jay, go subscribe to Elise. She and I will be live on Wednesdays every single week talking about the week. We're going to be doing that. So join us there. Go subscribe to her. Thumbs up the video on here. Drop a comment down below. And I will see y'all on Sunday because we off tomorrow. I don't recap the After Suns. I'm going to check it out, but I don't recap them. But I'll see y'all on the Sunday. No, I can't talk. On Sunday night. I did good this one. This one I wouldn't dry mouth because I actually hydrated myself. But I'll see y'all then. Peace.